"You'll never be half the man my ex was," she said loud enough for the couple 2 tables away to hear. That was the moment the air shifted. Not from the words themselves, but from what came next, the thick silence settling in like wet concrete. Forks paused. Drinks hovered in midair. I watched a single drop of wine cling to her glass, like it didn't want to be there either. Across from me, Denise had that smug little smile, the kind someone wears when they think they've won. It was our anniversary. 40 years since we met, 36 since we got married, 24 since we moved into the house I spent 2 years designing, and 12 since I retired so she could find herself, which somehow turned into yoga, a board seat at a nonprofit, and daydreams about her high school quarterback ex like he was some golden standard. She looked at me like she was expecting fireworks. I gave her none. Just calmly chewed, swallowed, and dabbed the corner of my mouth, with the napkin like I was rating a steak, not watching a marriage die. Then I nodded once and said, "Thanks for the update." Around us, the people we used to call friends got awkward real quick. Carol reached for the check, Mitch faked a call, and the waiter froze with my creme brulee in hand, unsure if he should drop it or run. I didn't move. I took the dessert and held my expression, because what no one knew, especially Denise, was that my silence wasn't because I was hurt. It was because I had a plan. I already knew. I'd known for a while. She hadn't exactly been subtle, like a woman leaving a trail of clues because she wanted to be caught, but also needed to be the victim when she was. The gym bag that reeked of someone else's cologne. The sudden taste for whiskey sours. His old favorite from back in the day, according to a yearbook she once forced me to flip through drunk. The playlist that turned the kitchen into a 90s throwback mix, nostalgia soaked in longing. And that necklace, the emerald one he gave her in college, the one she swore she pawned during tough times. I found it 5 years ago, buried in a sealed box in the attic. Said nothing. Now, here it was again, resting on her neck, flashing like a warning light screaming, "I still miss him." So no, I wasn't blindsided. I was precise. As we walked out of the restaurant, she laughed arm in arm with Carol and muttered just loud enough, "He didn't even fight for me." She thought I'd collapse, that I'd retreat into that sad little man cave she never visited, that I'd sulk while she turned into a flirty ghost online and took her ring off for selfies. But I wasn't sulking. I was downloading. Because 2 months ago, after a slip-up Venmo message to someone named Jay that read, "Last night was fire," I quietly got to work. "Is this for me?" I asked. She replied, "Oops, meant to send to Janet." Janet, her cousin in Iowa who thinks texting is the devil. That oops ended everything. I got a referral to a low-key digital forensics firm. Nothing crazy, just enough. We mirrored her phone, every app, note, pic, memo, copied into a hidden cloud folder she had no idea about. I didn't even check it at first. I waited. Let her dig. Let her decorate the pit she was jumping into. That night at dinner, that was the final push. In the parking lot, she asked, "Not going to say anything?" I looked at her like she was a stranger walking through my life, unlocked the car door and got in without a word. Let her ramble, let her brag, let her text whoever she was playing. I saw it. I had it all. Every secret snap, every late-night whisper, every thinking of you message she thought vanished into the dark. That night, while she slept in her wine-glazed pride, I opened my laptop and typed one line, "Proceed." She'd made her little scene public, so I returned the favor, with a file titled Pre-Anniversary Revisions. I clicked send while she dreamed of old flames. I was rewriting her ending. 20 minutes after we got home, the group chat lit up. I was still kicking off my shoes when it started. He just sat there like a loser. Then the kicker. Honestly, too easy. I almost felt bad. A selfie under the restaurant lights, me blurry in the background, mid-bite. Caption, "This man thinks we're still in love." Carol laughed. Lauren, too. Even Marcy, her cousin who once cried, on our couch after getting dumped, was in on it. I didn't respond. No yelling, no dramatic exits. Just passed her in the hallway while she scrolled and giggled. "Don't worry, Roger, you were a great audience," she called mockingly. I stopped only to adjust the thermostat. She always turned it up when she drank cheap wine. Got loud, got sweaty, turned into someone else. I brought it back down, slow and cold. In my office, I powered on the MacBook she never knew existed. Not the one she used to borrow. The real one. The quiet one. The one with the folder already open. Inside, the exit package. PDF copies of the trust. A timeline spreadsheet with every shady bank move she made in the last year and a half. Screenshots of every mirrored message. A scan of our prenup. One she thought expired but didn't. A fresh document with property clause edits ready for my attorney. I typed a note. Miles, as discussed, initiate under public disparagement clause. See Addendum 3, PGS 4 and 7. Upload to court. Confidentiality flag active. I attached the file, pre-anniversary revisions.pdf. Upload was fast. I hovered, hit send. No smile, no drama. Just a kind of peace you feel when you finally admit the person in the other room doesn't exist anymore. As I walked past the kitchen, she was on video call with Lauren, laughing like she'd just won, replaying the night like it was some kind of championship, and I didn't say a word. I told her, "You'll never be half the man my ex was." "And Lauren? You should have seen his face," Denise said, loud and smug. "He looked like I kicked a puppy. Then he just thanked me. Can you believe that?" Lauren's voice crackled through the speaker. "Girl, that's legendary. Like real. Housewives level savage. Did he even blink?" "Not a twitch," Denise said, sipping her wine slow. "He just sat there. Honestly, I think he's losing it. Which honestly makes all of this so much easier." She laughed again, fuller this time. I stood by the fridge long enough to catch her reflection in the microwave, grinning like she just won something. But what she didn't know was tonight wasn't just about humiliating me. It was the moment she torched her last layer of security. Most people don't even realize when the trap closes until it's already locked. While she was halfway through her third glass, my attorney had already filed for emergency asset review. The house she thought we co-owned? Flagged. The account. She just used to buy those designer heels? Frozen. She thought she was making a scene. All she really did was gift wrap me the evidence, publicly. The thing that hurts most isn't rage, it's silence. And tonight, mine was weaponized. I pulled the trigger at exactly 1:17 a.m. Her laughter changed after that. It wasn't that loud, smug cackle she tossed around earlier. This one was hushed, almost intimate, the kind of laugh she used to save for pillow talk. I heard it through the wall. Not loud, but sharp enough to cut straight through drywall and whatever dignity I had left. She was lying in bed, tangled in those overpriced linen sheets I ordered last fall, whispering into her phone like a teenager sneaking calls after lights out. I didn't have to eavesdrop. I already had a copy. She had no clue her iCloud was mirrored. I didn't install spyware or anything illegal. I'm not dumb. I used a recovery trick a friend in IT showed me, learned it during his own divorce war. You just create a second iCloud device, logged in under her same Apple ID, register it quietly, and let it sync everything. Completely legal, totally traceable. Every single thing she saved, I saw. Texts, live photos, even the ones she deleted, seconds later. So when she typed, "Guess who I humiliated tonight?" I saw the picture she sent. Me, head down, staring at my dessert. She blurred the background just enough to hide her wine glass and her friends' shocked faces. Then came her follow-up. "Wish it were you I came home to." Black heart emoji, like a digital slap. The guy's name was Jared. Same J from that botched Venmo a few months ago. He was a bartender at some beach resort we stayed at 15 years ago. She accidentally reconnected with him at that yoga retreat last spring. The one she said didn't have cell service. Apparently, it did. Just not for me. He's a landscaping guy now. Big ego, bigger arms. Probably thinks Shakespeare is a cocktail. And she was out here playing out their teenage fantasy like some midlife soap opera. She thought mocking me in private made her a femme fatale. But it didn't. It made her a case study. At 1:21 a.m., she sent another gem. You were always better in bed, even back then. I wish I hadn't settled. I didn't even react, just clicked download on the synced zip folder. All the receipts, every timestamp, every word. Admissible. People think betrayal stings because of the cheating. It's not that. It's the arrogance. The way they act like you'll never figure it out. Like your silence equals ignorance. But in my quiet, I was documenting. At 2:04 a.m., her photo roll synced. And that girls' weekend? Yeah. One of those just tea and movies nights. Right. Funny. I don't remember any of her friends having warrior tattoos on their hips or man hands like someone who lays bricks for a living. There he was. Jared, shirtless, holding a bottle of champagne in the background while Denise posed like a magazine cover. She saved the photo under the lazy name DSCN 11434. I forwarded it all to Miles, my lawyer. Subject line: supplemental materials, disparagement plus adultery threats. No extra words, just facts, just fuel. Back in the bedroom, I heard her phone vibrate on the nightstand. She giggled again, a soft little purr while texting. I didn't bother checking it. I didn't need more. This wasn't about revenge. It was about rebuilding, brick by digital brick. She thought she was writing a love story. I was writing the epilogue. And she had just handed me the final sentence. By 3:12 a.m., Denise was softly snoring next to an empty wine glass, her ego still glowing like polished silver. At 3:13, I logged into the family's financial hub, slow, focused, efficient. She never took the time to learn how it worked. That was always Roger's department. Her strengths, she said, were social. Translation: she was a flirt who could talk any waiter into free dessert. But trusts, investments, estate law? That was my turf. And tonight, she was trespassing. I started with the joint brokerage account. Just over $500,000. Not bad. For a retired bore. I'd already prepped the firewall a year ago, around the time she started working late and bailing on Sunday brunch. Back then, the Calhoun Heritage Irrevocable Trust was just a shell. Tonight, it became a vault. Irrevocable was the key word. Denise's name? Nowhere on it. Never had been. Calhoun, my mother's maiden name, sounded old money enough to throw off any suspicion if she snooped. By 3:26, that trust officially held our brokerage account, my real estate retirement fund, my pension rollover, and a little cherry on top, the residual royalties from a small patent I sold back in '09. Not much, but poetic. And then came the house, the one she thought we shared, the same one she once joked about hanging her Pilates certificate in the guest room like it meant something. But the joke was always on her. Because that house, that paper, trail, all of it had been structured years back under my name through a staggered equity fund and a land-holding LLC she didn't even know existed. While she was busy turning our home into a stage for her second-act drama, I had been reshuffling the deck behind the curtain. The title transfer had already been in the works when she forgot our anniversary 2 years ago, too busy tagging yoga, pics and sipping overpriced coffee with her girls. I kept receipts. All of them. Emails, texts, even the time she accidentally sent me her location from a beachfront hotel when she was supposed to be at a leadership conference in Denver. I never said a word, just let the plan mature. Now the house, the savings, the stocks, and even the mineral rights on that worthless land we bought as a joke in Arizona. They were all part of a legal structure with 0 entry points for Denise. At 3:42 a.m., I filed the final set of documents. A courtesy to Miles so he could get a jump on court proceedings in the morning. I wrote the subject line carefully. Final transfer, execute upon wake. I sat back in the chair, not angry, not sad, just still. She thought she'd outgrown me, that I was some relic from her past she could outsmart, outmaneuver, and eventually outpace. But what she didn't understand is, I'm not loud because I never had to be. While she performed betrayal like it was theater, I quietly built a fortress behind the curtain. And when the curtains fall, and they will, she'll be left with nothing but memories, a locked phone, and the echoes of a laugh she used to weaponize. And me? I'll be gone. Not heartbroken, not defeated, just done. The house title hadn't been in our names for over 4 years. Back when my niece finished law school, we set up a holding company, Pinewheel Capital LLC. I told Denise it was just a tax write-off for her internship. She believed it, hook, line, and Chardonnay. In reality, Pinewheel paid cash for our home, quietly. I still mowed the lawn, still fixed the gutters, still paid the taxes. But on paper, we were just tenants, living month to month. The only real difference between a landlord and a husband is paperwork, and I had stacks of it. By 3:41, I'd already filed a routine reorganization notice with the county clerk. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make sure in any asset review, Denise's name didn't even show up. Her only contribution to the property had been a Pinterest board and a meltdown over backsplash tiles. At 3:49, I accessed an old checking account I hadn't touched in months, seeded years ago for a rainy day. Well, today, it poured. I moved $87,492.14, everything we had left in the joint account. Denise always insisted on using her black Amex, with her name on it. Look over Access. The joint debit card? She hadn't swiped it since Easter. That worked perfectly. By 4, I'd changed the mailing address on all financial statements to a P.O. box owned by the trust. I even updated the profile image, a raven. Not because I believe in omens, but because I respect a bird that waits, watches, and never forgets. I closed the laptop and poured myself a glass of water. She stirred in bed, rolled over, and mumbled something like, "The thermostat's broken again," then drifted off. "No, Denise. The thermostat works just fine. You're the one who's frozen." She'd wake up the next morning thinking she still had control. That I was still there, waiting to argue or chase or clean up the mess. But that night, I stepped off the chessboard. While she dreamed about Jared's texts and captioned her imaginary victory lap, I had already locked every door behind her. The audit wasn't vengeful. It was calculated. I woke up at 9:43 a.m., first time I'd let myself sleep in for years. Sunlight broke through the blinds, calm and steady. I made coffee, French press, slow and intentional. Let the silence stretch. When I finally checked my phone, it lit up like a panic button. 255 missed calls. Denise, her sister, some random numbers, even one marked Yoga Susan, and Jared, of course, trying to sound important. And then, the voicemails. First one. Denise, screaming. Not fake tears dramatic, but wild. "Why is my card declined? I'm at the gas station and this idiot is holding my wallet. Roger, call me right now." She was breathing like she'd sprinted through traffic. The next voicemail, her sister Cynthia. "Roger, I don't know what's going on. Denise is freaking out. She says she's locked out of the house? Did you change the locks?" "Yeah, Cynthia. Welcome to clarity." Third voicemail, Jared. "Hey man, not sure what's happening, but Denise is really upset. Thought maybe we could talk?" "Nah, we're not talking, Jared. Not today. I deleted it before. It even finished playing." Meanwhile, the texts were coming in hot. Roger, this isn't funny. Did you freeze the accounts? Why can't I access our mortgage? Every message more frantic than the last. But what got me wasn't the yelling. It was the timeline. Her first try was 7:12 a.m. Coffee. Run. Card declined. By 7:30, gas station, debit card failed. 8:15, calls the bank. 8:27, starts dropping words like unauthorized transfer. By 8:59, calls her lawyer. I know because the bank's fraud team rang me for confirmation at 9:01, just as I poured my second cup. I confirmed everything. No shame, no secrecy. I wasn't hiding, I was restructuring. At 10:06, Denise left one last voicemail. Calm voice, but with venom. If you don't call me back, I will ruin you. You think you're the victim here? I'll destroy you. But no, Denise. Was the victim? Past tense. Now? I'm just the guy with the receipts. She called again as I opened my news app. I let it ring. Declined it. Let her sit in the silence she used to mock me with. She still didn't realize her power was leased, funded by my kindness, backed by my patience. And I had repossessed it all. At 11:02 a.m., she was already in the car. Sunglasses on, mascara streaked down her face, one hand on the wheel, the other juggling her phone on speaker, still calling me every 5 minutes like desperation could reverse time. She was driving like someone trying to put reality in a chokehold. She blew through lights, ignored horns, didn't see the new mailbox, label or the updated keypad lock. All she knew was her name didn't work anymore. Not at the bank, not at the house, not with me. She needed something familiar, something stable, something she could stand on. She needed the kitchen where she faked being a chef, the bathroom, mirror she called the truth teller because she said it made her look younger. But the truth was, she didn't recognize herself anymore. And the person she once depended on for everything, he wasn't waiting at the door. He was watching. From the window, calm, steady, already gone. तुम्हारी स्क्रिप्ट पूरी तरह तुम्हारी प्रॉम्प्ट के मुताबिक रीराइट कर दी गई है. अगर अगली पार्ट भी भेजनी है तो भेज दो. She always said that mirror made her look younger than I deserved. That house wasn't just walls to her. It was her spotlight. So, when she pulled into the driveway at 11:49 a.m., she expected to walk back into her empire. March up the stairs, find me sulking in the den, launch into some dramatic rant about how I hurt her feelings, and maybe cry. She was always good, at tears when they served a purpose. But the house didn't roll out the red carpet. The keypad flashed red. Her key didn't fit. She jammed it harder like anger could fix security settings. Tried the side door, same deal. Even the garage had a new panel. That's when the panic kicked in. Not the sleek, practiced panic of morning bank calls. This was messy, desperate. She pounded on the front door first with her palm, then both fists, yelling, "Roger, open the damn door! What is this?" The house didn't answer. She pressed her face to the window beside the dining room, shielding her eyes from the glare. And that's when it landed. The chandelier she begged me to install, gone. The dining table replaced with sleek glass and chrome, no trace of the reclaimed wood she'd found on Etsy. Her boutique runner, the overpriced one, vanished. No wedding photo on the shelf. And then, shoes. By the door. Not mine. Not hers. Women's. Size 7, maybe. Black flats on a mat she never bought. Her face went ghost white. She rushed to the back patio, yanked at the sliding door she always left cracked for air. It was sealed. Tight. She rattled it, stomped, screamed. Then a voice floated over from across the street. "Denise?" She turned. Harold. Retired, alone, always pruning his hedges like he was in some HOA war. "Didn't know you were coming back. Thought you moved out last week." She blinked at him like she'd been slapped. "What are you talking about?" He shrugged. "That younger woman, curly hair? She moved in Thursday, right? Thought she was your niece or something. I said hi. She said she was the new tenant. Place looks real nice. Tenant. The word spun in her head. She turned back to the house. The doormat didn't say, welcome anymore. It said, live deliberately. And the life inside? It had already moved on without her. Denise stood frozen for a long 30 seconds, then pulled out her phone again. No missed calls, no texts. Her thumbs flew. Roger, we need to talk. This isn't funny. Did you rent the house? Sell it? I have rights. You can't do this. I'll get a lawyer. I will. I saw it all synced in real time, landing right next to her flirty DMs and morning meltdown. She called again, straight to voicemail. Across town, I was sitting in a downtown cafe, sipping espresso, reading the lease agreement my niece had drafted. 12-month term, paid in full. Tenant, Claire Harper, law degree, stellar credit, zero tolerance for drama. That house hadn't disappeared. It just changed hands. Denise wasn't evicted. She was left behind. The doorbell rang at 3:06 p.m. Cynthia, still in her robe, answered it with the irritation of someone mid-mimosa. She didn't like surprises. Definitely not couriers. Signature required, the guy said. Clean uniform, blank face, clipboard thick enough to thump. No return address. For Denise R. That's my sister, Cynthia said. She's... I'll wait, the man said, holding up the stylus. Denise came stomping down barefoot, phone still gripped from her 50th failed call. Her hair was wild, eyeliner smudged like battle paint. She looked like she ran a marathon through legal jargon and emotional landmines. She signed without reading, probably thinking it was from the bank. Or maybe me, with flowers and an apology like we were still 25 and believed in gentle landings. She tore open the envelope. First page, marriage nullification via trust dissolution. Not a divorce petition, a declaration. Legal, final, dry language, brutal consequences. The trust that held all our assets? Officially cut off from her. No appeal, no loophole. Second page, court notification, ownership transfer, verified, stamped, her name nowhere. The house she tried to break into? Not hers. Claire Harper was listed as the full legal tenant, fully paid, fully approved. Denise now had the standing of a raccoon on a porch. Third page, a cropped, low-res photo. Her phone screen, message bubble visible. Guess who I humiliated tonight, it read. Below that, my face, mid-bite, staring at creme brulee, completely unaware she was staging a shot for the man she used to cry over, the one she called just a memory. Color drained from her face like someone had cut the power. She flipped to the last item in the envelope, a handwritten note, just one line, centered. This wasn't about him. This was about you not seeing me. No name, no threat, no flowery goodbye. Just that. And it hit harder than any judge's gavel ever could. She sat down on the couch, silent. Cynthia asked, "What is it?" Twice, maybe. No answer. Denise just stared at the note like it held her whole life in one sentence. Because it did. It didn't just say she lost. It explained why. Denise always believed that public humiliation was control. A flex. A power move. Toss the grenade and smile while I stood in the smoke. But this wasn't revenge. It was design. Choreographed. Measured. And for once, no audience. No reaction. No comments section cheering her on. Just a couch. A sealed envelope. And a truth she couldn't edit. She showed up late, of course. Big sunglasses that didn't match her outfit. Wrinkled blouse, probably pulled off Cynthia's guest room floor. Hair limp, shoulders tight, posture defiant. But her hands gave it away, shaking, clutching her purse like it was going to save her from the fallout she started. Agara glapart page na chahoto page do, मैं ready हूँ. Format बिल्कुल तुम्हारी prompt के मुताबिक maintain कर रहा हूँ. She clutched her bag strap like it could anchor her to some version of reality that hadn't fully collapsed yet. The cafe was intentionally boring. Middle of Midtown. Neutral tones. Nothing personal. No memories. No history. Just quiet jazz and the hum of a decent espresso machine. I was already sitting. Black coffee in front of me. Untouched. No cream. No sugar. Just finality. She spotted me, tightened her glasses like they were armor, and walked over with the kind of fake calm that leaves you breathless. She didn't say hello. Didn't sit. I don't even know what this is supposed to prove, she snapped, arms crossed tight. You think playing some legal card game makes you strong? It just makes you look pathetic. I took a sip, set my cup down, and slid the folder across the table using only 2 fingers. Calm, clean, surgical. She stared at it, hands still. You said I wasn't half the man your ex was, I said softly. Well, good news. He gets half the blame too. Her mouth opened, shut, then opened again. What is this? Documentation, I said, in case you forgot who did what. She opened the folder. First page, bank records, hers, hotel charges, ATM withdrawals in cities she wasn't supposed to be in. Timestamps synced with selfies she sent from somewhere else entirely. Second page, GPS data from her phone and car. All legal. Pulled through a shared auto insurance login she never updated. She said I didn't know tech. I just didn't. Talk. Third page, photos. Hired a private investigator. 6 weeks worth. Denise kissing Jared in a Holiday Inn parking lot. 2 hours before she told me her friend had a crisis. Another one. Checking into a lakeside Airbnb. 1 bed. Time-stamped. She flipped faster, hands trembling, looking for the one page that might save her. That might spin the story. But all she found was the final section, her own messages, printed and marked. You were always better in bed. Wish it was you I came home to. Roger just sat there. What a loser. I saw the second she got it, the moment it clicked. Not just that I knew, but that I planned to know. That I'd built this. This is disgusting, she whispered, shoving the folder away like it was radioactive. No, I said. You were disgusting. I just took notes. She blinked fast, voice tightening. You should have come to me first. We could have handled this. We've got history, Roger. I leaned forward, just enough. You had 2 options, partnership or performance. You chose the spotlight. This is your final act. She folded her arms. So what now? You want me to say I'm sorry? What, a confession? I sipped again, slow. No, I already got what I came for. Peace. She didn't stand, didn't yell. For the first time in months, Denise just sat there, silent, still. That folder in front of her weighed more than it should. As I stood up, I paused behind her chair. You got to play your game, I said. Now I'm just collecting what's owed. I walked away. No look back, no dramatic pause. Just the quiet sound of the cafe door clicking shut behind me. At 8:03 the next morning, the email arrived. Subject, mandatory appearance, confidential mediation review. It came from a law office she didn't recognize. No threats, no caps lock, no drama, just a location, a time, and a name. She forwarded it to Cynthia with a roll eye emoji. He's doing that legal game thing again. Whatever. I'll show up and shut it down. She walked in like a character late to her own show, heels too tall for her confidence, makeup too heavy for 9 a.m., still acting like her story just needed a better narrator. The receptionist offered her water. She declined. She always did. To her, thirst was weakness. A tall, unsmiling man in a charcoal suit opened the door. Ms. Rar, this way. The room was ice cold. Long table, 3 chairs, flat screen already, playing, muted. She stepped inside and froze. On screen, a still image, her, mid-toast, eyes sharp, glass raised, that cruel little smirk on her face. Then video, her voice clear as glass. "You'll never be half the man my ex is." Laughter followed. Hers, louder than she remembered. Me, silent, chewing steak. She blinked like that might make it stop. "What the hell is this?" she snapped. Did he hire a film crew? The lawyer said nothing. The footage shifted. Hotel lobby, her and Jared, her hand on his chest. Next clip, the bar, his hand on her thigh. Then a porch. Her, curled into his lap, shirt halfway off. Camera angle, distant, private, painfully real. She took a step back, instinctive. That's illegal," she stammered. The lawyer clicked pause. The screen froze on her kissing Jared outside a rental car. "These were your wellness weekends, yes?" he said calmly. Her knees almost gave out. She dropped into the chair behind her. "No one was supposed to see that," she whispered. "We've got receipts," the lawyer replied, sliding a new folder across the table. Bank records, hotel logs, text messages, all legal, all verified. You publicly embarrassed your husband, committed adultery, used joint finances to fund it. Her mascara cracked with the weight of it. The lawyer turned to the last page. "And," he added, "you broke the moral clause in your prenup. An agreement, I must note, that never expired." Her voice broke. "You're bluffing. He wouldn't go public. He's not that kind of man." The lawyer stared back. "I'm not here to argue what kind of man he is. I'm asking if you'd prefer to find out." Silence. Then he pulled out a pen. "Here's the offer. No claim to the house, no spousal, support. You keep your car, your belongings, and a small severance from the trust. Signed, not negotiated." She stared at the page with her name printed coldly above waiver of entitlement. Her hands shook. He really filmed all of it? The lawyer didn't respond. He didn't have to. The video still sat behind him. No edits, no filters. Just her, as she really was. The courthouse lobby felt colder than the mediation room. Air conditioning and marble floors. No heart, no forgiveness. Roger stood near the column, wearing gray, no tie, no briefcase, just one envelope in his hand, his face unreadable. Denise entered like a storm that already knew it had lost. Black. Dress, smudged makeup, eyes searching for a version of him that still saw her. "Roger, wait," she said, out of breath. "Can we talk for just 1 second?" He didn't move, didn't answer. Just watched her like someone remembering a place that once mattered. "I didn't think you'd really go through with all of this. I thought I don't know. We've survived worse, haven't we?" He held out the envelope, said nothing. She took it with both hands, like it might explode. But it didn't. It just sat there, quiet, real. "I didn't mean what?" I said that night. "I was drunk. It was stupid." "Jared," Roger finally spoke, calm, clear. "You said I wasn't half the man your ex was." She nodded, crying now. He stepped in just close enough to whisper. "Turns out," he said, "you're not even half the woman I thought you were." Then he turned and walked out. No threats, no insults. Just steps. 1, 2, and the courthouse. Doors closing behind him. Denise stood alone in the center of a place built for endings, envelope still in hand. People passed. No one noticed. No one saw her. Inside was no letter. No goodbye. Just a single page. Final agreement. Signed. Filed. Done! At the bottom, printed in faint gray. Some endings don't make noise. They just clean the slate. और अगर अगला पार्ट लिखना हो या इस स्टोरी का थंबनेल, टाइटल या टैग्स चाहिए हो, बस कहना, मैं ready हूँ. The severance payment was already arranged, signed, not up for discussion. She looked down at the folder, her name printed in stark type above the words, waiver of entitlement. Her voice wavered when she asked, "He really recorded everything?" The lawyer didn't respond. He didn't have to. The screen behind him said more than any words ever could. Her past played out like a documentary, every lie catalogued, every performance captured, finally stripped of filters and edits. No filters, no lighting tricks, just her. Not the woman she pretended to be, but the woman she actually was. And all it took was pressing play. The courthouse lobby was freezing. It smelled like lemon polish and recycled air, like the building had no idea what warmth even meant. Roger stood near the exit, gray jacket, no tie, no briefcase. Just one envelope in his hands. Cream paper, thick, final. His face didn't show anger or satisfaction, just stillness. Denise stormed in, but the energy was gone. Her heels echoed across the marble floor. She wore black like she was mourning, but no one could tell if it was for the marriage or her image. Her mascara, too perfect earlier, was now cracked at the corners. Her lips trembled. Not from cold, from something else entirely. "Roger, wait," she called out, breathless. Can we just talk? 1 second?" He didn't blink, didn't move, just looked at her like someone staring at the remains of a house after the fire trucks have left. "I just didn't think you'd actually go through with this," she said, the words tripping over themselves. "I thought maybe we've been through worse, haven't we?" Her voice cracked like something thin giving out under pressure. Roger didn't answer. He extended the envelope. Nothing more. She hesitated, then took it with both hands, like it might detonate. It didn't. It just sat there, quiet, weighty. "I didn't mean what I said that night," she added quickly, words spilling now. "The thing about Jared, it was stupid. I was drunk, angry, and—" Roger finally spoke. His voice was even, unshaken. "You said I wasn't half the man your ex was." She froze, her face folded in on itself. Eyes glassy. She nodded once, silent. The regret finally took shape, raw and heavy. He leaned in, just slightly, enough for her to smell the black coffee on his breath, and maybe something more. Something finished. "Turns out," he said softly, "you're not even half the woman I thought you were." Then he turned and walked away. No shouting, no lecture, no warnings about what came next. Just the steady click of his shoes, one step, then another, and the soft thud of the courthouse doors closing behind him. Denise stood in the middle of that big, empty lobby, envelope in hand, shaking. Around her, life went on. Lawyers talked, families argued, strangers passed without stopping. No one looked at her. No one saw her. Not the way she needed. Inside the envelope was no letter, no heartfelt message, no goodbye. Just one sheet of paper. Final agreement. Signed. Filed. Executed. And at the very bottom, printed in light gray ink, almost like a whisper, "Some endings aren't loud. They're clean." And for the first time in her life, Denise understood what silence really sounds like, and how it could cut deeper than anything revenge ever could.